Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To some and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. I want to give a shout out to S Jacques for coming through, not only on the Cash App, but also on the email. And as I stated before, S Jacques is the reason that we have the international information that we have. We wouldn't know what we know about what's going on internationally if it wasn't for him. I wouldn't. He sent a link to me, and it covers something that I promised to only go in depth regarding on the Buy Me a Coffee channel or the page, the Jet Black Air Lounge. I promised that I would not really go in depth beyond that. So therefore, I have to tell you guys that, I gotta let you guys know, man, in a nutshell, just to be fair, that is only something I can go so in depth on here. But by the same token, I gotta tell you guys that one of them does have a lot to do with us, and that is this. Afro Think Tank really highlights what it is that kicks our behinds in terms of solidarity and moving forward. Afro Think Tank said that if you are gangbanging on FBA and you're being divisive, you don't get to support Ibrahim Traore. And I promised to talk more about that delineation in depth, from FBA to FBAA, only on Buy Me a Coffee, going in depth. But I will state this, though, right now. Ibrahim Traore is somebody from whom we have to learn. Whether we want to or not, we have to learn from Ibrahim Traore. Ibrahim Traore is doing exactly what it was that we FBA, those of us who were just FBA by fact, and those of us who are gangbanging and divisive with it and all up in everybody else's face, calling everybody else tethers, whichever one you are. The fact is that what we have stated that our leaders in the diaspora and that our cousins' leaders back on the home continent need to do is what he is doing. He's doing exactly that. He is stating what is under our soil is our right. And you're not going to extract it and we get nothing out of this. And what he's found, notice, people aren't lining up to extract the minerals from their country anymore in any major quantities. Russia's willing to trade with them, but they're not really, neither they nor China are sitting up and saying, well, you know what, let us come in and extract and take what Master Trump and Master Macron and Master whoever's the PM of the UK now, I keep forgetting. What these masses are doing and taking and getting out of the continent. As he told them, you're going to pay fairly. Others didn't line up that we know of to say, listen, we'll buy from you at fair market value. They didn't do that. And so therefore, what this means is that all of these improvements that he's making and his ability to donate such swaths of equipment pretty much mean that it wasn't a question of do the resources exist, but rather where they were. And that for which they were earmarked previously. That shows something. This is a landlocked nation, no port. And this is what he was able to do. That tells us right off the mother cuss word bat that the question is one of where the resources are and that for which they are earmarked and reserved, not their existence. And so if that's what it is, then we have to be honest with ourselves. It's probably the same thing with us too. I mean, we are a major resource right here. And I'll say this, Dennis Sperling himself has pretty much said we're not just, he said that we are the colonizers' black shadow. And that is that's what I go in depth about on Buy Me a Coffee. But Ibrahim Traore is doing what all of us have said that we need to do. All of us. And not only that, but he's not the only one to do it. Remember, he's got 2 other presidents that head the nations that are allies with his nation. 3 of them form the Alliance of the Sahel States, the AES. He and 2 others are there. I mean, Mali became debt-free. How did they do it? All of a sudden they became debt-free. It was a question of policy. I didn't think they had what it took to become debt-free, but it's a question of policy. Now they don't know. That tells us a lot right there. They owed, but they don't anymore. What do you learn from that? So from that, we can gain a lot of information. And I think we should. I think it's right that that's what we're getting at this point. This is why I have stated that the distinction is there anyway. We just have to be aware of it. There are these distinctions. They can be good and they can be bad, and most of the time there'll be some combination because we're human, but the distinctions are already there. We don't have to really change the distinctions. We just have to be aware of them. But the division, as I stated before, I'm only repeating what I said before, the division is always going to benefit somebody else. And maybe what we need to do is tell General Langley to get his ass back out in that sun. And the same for the government of Cote d'Ivoire. Because I'm sure the citizens are looking at the government and saying, what the F are you guys doing? You gonna listen to Langley and his government and go after this man next door for something he never did wrong? After you already gave sanctuary to the one that betrayed their cause? Is that who the heck you are? And SWP's been right about something. There are bugs in the minds of people from the continent that gotta be fixed. But there are bugs even in SWP's mind that gotta be fixed. Now, the bugs in my head that gotta be fixed don't pertain to you. But I have to tell you that these bugs, they still exist. But I can keep them away from you, which is what I always seek to do. I'm impatient. I'm not going to learn patience because I can't tell when I'm wasting patience and when it's the right way to be. I don't know the difference. So I just circumvent patience all the time. So, but that's not something that's going to affect you in your daily life. SWP is telling you that there's no God, there's no creator, there's nothing like that at all. He's telling you that I have actually been where you can only explain something by divine intervention. I've been there before. I've had issues. I mean, one of the reasons that I could be a dad is because of a divine intervention during a boating accident. It would have left me infertile. God knows how much worse it could have gotten. I was inches away from that. I don't have the kind of luck that allows me at all to, I don't have that kind of luck that lets me come that close to something and then circumvent it. But when it has come down to outright disaster, I've been protected. When it comes down to convenience, it's always whatever is inconvenient that finds its way to me, unless I'm really, really begging God. And then he answers and comes through with what's convenient. But short of this, short of me making that sort of begging a habit, and usually first thing in the morning, he doesn't. He lets whatever inconvenience and stress that exists find its way to me. And I'm not asking him for refuge, so why not? I'm not doing it. I mean, every time I buy a train ticket here, every time I buy a train ticket, if I pay extra to select a seat or I don't pay extra and I just take whatever seat the system gives me, I go and I board the train and there's some lady sitting in my mother cuss word seat already. Every time. All the time. I've had to jump on my wife at times and tell her, don't tell me to be patient with this. Don't tell me that. Being kind to women is one thing, but having my seat taken, and then every time I go sit in somebody else's seat, they come along and claim their seat, which is their right anyway. It's not the same thing as me being mean to these women. It's not the same thing. I've had to get on my wife about that. You want me to be chivalrous? I don't fiv-a-guck about that. I care about being right first, being fair, being polite. Yeah, sure, but this whole notion of chivalry and just always sacrificing, I don't owe them and they don't owe me. I'm a man, but I'm your man, not theirs. I'm not just giving everything to them because they're women. What are you, nuts? Would I ever tell you to just give any other man whatever the hell they want? Would I tell you that? You'd be like, anything they want? Really? That's what you think of? That's what you would say when I'm telling you the same thing. And I'm married to a good wife. But I'm letting you guys, I'm telling you that we're going to have to watch Ibrahim Traore. And this is why it is that the distinction must be different from the division. The distinction is, it's there. We can't really avoid it. But the division is not something we can afford. Because if we're going to sit up here and let the vociferous, the most divisive of us be the most vociferous, then what happens when some of us say, wait a minute, we ain't with that stuff. We actually want to set up shop in the States and back home. Then what? What winds up happening? He'd have every right to look and say, not your nationality. No, because we don't know if you're one of the divisive ones or if you're just distinct. We would get the taste of the same medicine that we have now been forced to give to many of our own women because of their attitudes. The collateral damage that's already there in the gender war it's there. You got quite a few good women. As a matter of fact, the good women are the ones that are going to reproduce the least, if ever at all. They're the last ones that'll go after any man, and they're the last ones that a man's going to meet to even discuss anything with him. They show the least interest. Even when they're available, even when they're free, they show the absolute least interest in any of us. And they think it's a part of them being good, and that's where the problem comes in. They're no different when it comes down to, hitting their late 30s and their 40s, and then all of a sudden trying to catch someone, and they might actually have a good character. There are a lot of ladies that are like that. The character's good, solid, and they're nice to look at. They just were never intentional enough about going and getting a guy because they still fell victim to the same brainwashing. And they associated their goodness with unavailability. Not unavailability to bad dudes, but unavailability to dudes. They associated that and they made the mistake, and now they're sitting up there looking like, oh my God, what I'm going to do now? Oh my God, my thought friends, either had their kids or they had abortions so they wouldn't have them. I've never even conceived. And they're going to die by themselves, and that's collateral damage. Even though they went out there trying to actively provoke that and chase men away, per se, they were wrong about what it meant to be a good woman. And they became collateral damage. And I don't want the same thing happening to us. When it comes, and I'm talking specifically with the context right now of Ibrahim Traore. Because beyond that, well, I already promised I'd go into that on the other platform. But S Jacques has been sending me links about this. And Traore has been dealing with Putin the way he has because of how Putin has been dealing with him. And Traore is even saying to Putin, no aid, let's just do a technology transfer. Thank you for letting me know about that, S Jacques. That's what he said to him. He visited Russia recently. He went to the Mendeleev University. The African students studying abroad there met him, gave him a standing ovation, and he gave them their speech. And it's just a speech. It could be good or bad, but his speeches tend to reflect his actual policies and leadership. He did not request aid. He didn't want aid. He wasn't looking for aid. He said, let's do a technology transfer. And then he went and told the students at the university, listen, what is missing is practice. I balanced a bunch of equations. I can do that in my head. Periodic table, I memorized that to the point if you wake me up at night, I know this stuff. What does that tell you about education over there where they're from? Tells you that education is not a joke, but by the same token, education is just designed to be difficult. It's just designed for that. It is not designed to actually give them the means to practice. He said what is missing is the practice. We need to apply these things we've learned to things like propulsion and engine building. That's what he said. So he's telling these students, yeah, you're here studying, and that's good. But how do you apply it? One of the reasons I picked language is because not only did I have somewhat of a gift for it, but because it's already applied. And I teach my students what they're going to apply in writing and in public speaking formally. That's what I teach them. I'll tell them, listen, this might be part of a lesson, but you're not going to need it. I tell my students, if this confuses you, then understand it, but don't use it. Here's what you can use in place of it, which is grammatically correct and less confusing. Same meaning. Just understand if somebody else says this to you, which may not even be grammatically correct, such as has got. That's not correct. It's in the textbooks, but it's not correct. Has gotten is the proper way to say that. And I'll tell them, no, it's not correct. It's just so widely used. They put it in a textbook. If you don't want to use that, then just say owns, purchased, got, have or has. That's all. That's all you need. I picked this because it has an applicable use. And that's why I chose this. And that's what I want you guys to start focusing on. The skills that are going to make you marketable anywhere else. Air conditioning repair. If global warming's really that big a deal, how about that? People are too lazy to go upstairs. Elevator repair and maintenance. You've already decided as brothers that you ain't going to chase down these degrees anymore because the debt you'll never be able to pay the debt back. It won't happen. I know. I'm just like the sisters in that regard. I own mountains of debt. I'll never pay it back. It's not possible. There's nothing I can do. I simply cannot. I'm not capable. I never will be capable because I'll never earn that kind of fortune. And if I did, Uncle Sam would want theirs before I could apply it to the debt. That's who the hell they are. So, I'm telling you guys now that we have to look at what we can apply. And you've already done that. But you have to now also look at the applicability of the attitudes that are being taught to us at the time when we have a leader bolstered by two others. We have a leader that is actually sort of an example even for the two others, if for no reason other than just pure media exposure. We know his name. I can't remember the names of the presidents of Niger and Mali, and it's not their fault. I'm not blaming them for that. But if for no reason other than just this media exposure and fame, they have the ability to watch and look and see what he does and follow him should they choose. Or set the example for him to follow because they can communicate with him. Either way, whichever one it is, that is something that they can do. And we got somebody finally doing this, what we've been calling for all this time. We have to look at the applicability of these attitudes that we're now being told to have. And where we're being told to apply it. And in all honesty, I think you all should, I want y'all to give S Jacques credit for this. With that being said, I'll go back to buy me a coffee, and I will talk more about where it is to actually aim. As a matter of fact, I already did that. I've already, at the end of last week, I recorded and I uploaded a message to Buy Me a Coffee about where to apply some of this aggression that many of us have because of the actual trade and the bondage, about which we're rightfully pissed off. I've already talked about that. So with that being said, I hope that this helps, because S Jacques has certainly helped me. And I thank you all for listening. As always, Black Heart, Black Mind, Blackout, Assalamu Alaikum, Black Heterosexual, Non-Select Male Power, because they don't like it. Black Patriarchy until oh, you know what? Sorry. Yeah, I'm about to close out, man. Look, one more thing I was going to tell you, and this is something that the links that S Jacques has sent to me regarding Ibrahim Traore and other events. This is something that Ibrahim Traore has shown in the links that S Jacques has sent to me. So I got to thank them both for this. And that is something that we're already doing anyway. We as black men in a gender war, beginning to look at what we own, what we have, what we own, what God has given us, and we're saying we're going to treat these things like our assets. Fair exchange is no robbery. We are no longer going to sit up here and pursue our own humiliation. We're not even going to pursue our own hardship or inconvenience. We're not chasing these broads no more so that we can offer to pay their bills. All they do is sit back and get picky about who's going to take care of them and how. It's a market for them. That's why they're simps. And they don't respect the simps, but that's why they are the simps. I mean, it's funny, but if you're going to look at a prison, the rules of which you're going to respect, it's the same prison to which you would never agree to go. It's the same prison in which you would never choose to spend your time if you had to serve out a sentence. The rules where you will respect, the system, the rules of which you will respect is the same system that it's the same prison you would choose to never go to serve out your sentence. You want to go where you don't have to respect the rules, the minimum security joint. And that's what the market is like here. And you guys have pretty much set up and said, you know what, no, screw that. If we have to do all of this, and these actually are our responsibilities as men, and we accept that they are, then dot-gammit, we're not going to chase you broads down to do it. Because you ain't going to relieve us of none of this stuff. We got to be rich, you come to us. We got to be rich to qualify, chase the ones that qualify, because most of us ain't never going to be rich. We have to have in abundance that which God has already made rare. Guess what? You're going to have to come to us when we get it. You sat up and said the right thing. You've taken a look at your talents, your skills, the responsibilities you have to master. You've looked at all of these things and you pretty much sat up and said, there's no mother cuss word way that you're going to go and pursue. You sat up and decided you're not going to go and pursue bills, inconveniences, expenses. You pretty much decided you're not going to sit up and walk up with all your muscle as a Cape Buffalo and approach the lioness and ask her to jump on your back and bite your neck. I'm not even talking about the hyenas. I'm talking about the lionesses. You said, I'm not doing that. You the lioness. I don't have an interest in being consumed, so I'm not going to beg you to consume me. You better catch me, and then you better be able to bring me down, and I'm going to make that hard. You're going to catch these horns if you do. If that's what you're here for. So, Ibrahim Traore has shown us that. He has shown us that that's how we're supposed to negotiate. That's what I'm saying. He's shown us the right way to negotiate. And S Jacques has sent me links to him doing that. And that's what I want you guys to pay attention to. You're already doing it in one context. I simply want you to watch him because he's doing it in the context of a head of state. And I want you to apply that same thing, and as much as we possibly can, learn from that and then apply that to our own lives where we are the heads of whatever it is that we're in charge of administering, distributing, negotiating for. Because we like to talk about people getting what they deserve, but what Ibrahim Traore is showing us is that in politics and in business, the only way to get what you deserve is to negotiate for it, because you get what you negotiate. And even in sometimes, if the terms are good for you, you're probably going to have to find a way to enforce them keeping up their end of the bargain after you've kept up yours, because, well, the terms were good for you, so they probably still aren't going to carry them out. Unless they're forced to. Hope that what I said is a benefit. Thank you for listening. I won't go through the whole outro again, but keep Jet and Black with us till the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender justice forever.